All right, guys, lesson 12. We're talking about perimeter, circumference, area. Perimeter is just adding up all the sides of a polygon. All right, nothing crazy about it. Circumference is just the perimeter of a circle, and the area is the space inside of a 2D figure. All right, here's all the formulas right here. You got the area of a triangle, rectangle, square, parallelogram, trapezoid, and a circle. Perimeter, area. All right, so first of all, on number one, as you can see from a square, it's just 4 times the side because all the sides are the same. So the perimeter is just going to be 4 times 8.5, right? And that's going to be 34 feet. All right, so when you're just adding up all the sides, your units don't change. All right, so, and then on 2, you have your diameter. And remember, circumference is pi times diameter. So this is simply 26 pi. Now, sometimes Pearson will take that, and sometimes they want the decimal. If you want the decimal, you can multiply by 3.14, which would probably be good for most of your underage kids. But especially if you're using calculators, you can go ahead and use pi, and that will be 81.7 yards. And whenever you round, you want to make sure that you don't say equals. It's approximately 81.7 yards. All right. If you say 26 pi yards, that's exact. So you can say equals then. On number 3, you have two sides of the same, 20.9, 20.9, and then 27. So I'm literally adding up all the sides. 20.9 plus 20.9 plus 27. All right. And that's going to give you a total of 68.8 centimeters. Now, just because you have decimals doesn't mean that you use approximately or that you round. All right, I didn't have to round at all here. All right, so on number 2, we did circumference with diameter. On number 4, we're going to do circumference with radius. All right, so circumference is 2 pi r, and that's because the diameter is twice the radius. So if you have diameter, you don't have to do anything special. But if you have the radius, you got to multiply by 2. All right, so this is going to be, let's see, 2 times pi times radius is 2.9. So this is going to give you 5.8 pi. That's exact. But if you want to round, then that's going to be 18.2 feet. Okay. Now, when it comes to area, with a parallelogram, it's base times height. All right, and the base and the height will always form a right angle. So here, my area is going to be 21 times 33. Okay, so that's going to give you 693 meters squared. All right, so a while ago when we did perimeter, my units didn't change, but when you deal with area, it's meters times meters, or units times units, so it's units squared for your area. Okay, and then 6, like I said, right, so my formula is 1/2 the sum of the bases times the height. So again, if we look up here at our, it's right here. Okay, so my height, again, the base and the height always form a right angle. Here, I have a couple of right angles here, so my height is 7. So it's going to be 7 times the sum of the bases, so you got 11 plus 15. All right, 15 and 11 is 26. Half of 26 is 13. So 13 times 7, that's going to be 91. So you can use a calculator. I'm just saying. 91 inches squared. Okay. And so again, the base and the height always form a right angle. So sometimes the right angle inside of a triangle doesn't come inside the triangle. It's obtuse, and so a piece of it sticks out, and so it's the height comes outside of that. And so this would be area is 1/2 base times height. So the base is 20.4, and then 14.6 is your height. You use your calculator and you get 148.92 inches squared. All right, I didn't have to round. It should be an exact answer. So as long as you're getting exact answers, then all is well. Now on 8, this is a isosceles triangle. So when I draw my altitude here, that is going to be, because the sides are equal, that's going to produce a right angle right here. And so, and it splits this bottom in half. So this would be 13, this would be 13. And now I can use Pythagorean theorem to figure out what that is. So x squared plus 13 squared equals 30 squared. X squared equals 731. And so x is the square root of 731. So that's going to be my height of the triangle. And so area is 1/2 square root of 731 times 26. Because when you go find the area of the triangle, you want the entire base, not the whole thing, or not half of it. So there's that. And because that's a square root, I am going to get a decimal here. So I'm going to have to round to 351.5 centimeters squared. All right. Now, you have your basic figures to find area with, but something that's a little bit more advanced and that you'll see regularly is a composite figure. And it's a figure that is separated into regions that are basic plane figures like triangles, parallelograms, etc. To find the area of the composite, divide up the regions, find each area, and then find the sum of all the areas. So like for number 9 here, I have a rectangle and I have a trapezoid. So I need to find the area of both of those. So the first area is going to be 12 times 23. And that's going to give me 276. Now, because the entire height here of this figure is 18, this is 12, which means this piece is going to be 6. Okay, so that's the height of the trapezoid. All right, so area is going to be 1/2. The height is 6, and the sum of the bases is going to be 15 plus 23. And using my calculator, I get 114. So if I add these up, you get 276 plus 114 gives you a total of 390. And remember, this is area, so this is centimeters squared. All right, you have a half a circle split by a parallelogram, so I don't need to take the area of half a circle, I just need the whole circle. All right, so when you're dealing with circles, remember to watch out for your radius. So since this is 6 inches, this is also 6 inches. So the entire base of that parallelogram is 12. All right, so I have area of the parallelogram and area of the square. So area 1 is 5 times 12, which is 60. Area squared, that's going to, or second area is going to be pi r squared, which is pi, that's going to be 6 squared, so 36 pi. And again, that's going to give you 113.10 inches squared. And of course, I'm going to add these up, get my total area, and that's going to give me 173.10 inches squared. All right, let's do some more. So on number 11, we have 3 sections that we need to take the area of. So the first one's going to be my triangle, then my rectangle, and then my half circle. Okay, so before we figure some stuff out, we need to get some dimensions. So first of all, this is going to be 9, which means this is 9. Again, radius. And then since that radius is 9, that means this section is 9. Okay, which means this section is 26 minus 9 is 17. Okay, and since that 17 and 7, that means this piece is going to be 10. All right, so we have all our pieces now, so let's go find area is area of the first one. That's going to be 1/2 based on its height, so it's going to be, remember, the form a right angle, so that's going to be 9 times 10. So half of 90 is 45 feet squared. Area 2, that's going to be 9 times 17, which is 153 feet squared. and then my area of the circle, it's half, so I got to take half of that, pi, and then my radius is 9, so 9 squared. And you crunch those numbers, that's going to give you approximately 127.23 feet squared. And of course, we add them all up. And that's going to give me 325.23. 325.23 feet squared. Okay. You just take your time with it, all is well. All right, on 12, all right, I'm gonna have to find this. So I got 9, this is 12, 9.6. So x is gonna be x squared plus 9.6 squared equals 12 squared. So x squared equals 51.4, or sorry, 51.84, and then x is the square root of that, which is approximately 7.2. So this is 7.2, this is 7.2, which is 14.4. All right, so if that's 14.4, that means this is the height is going to be 11 down here. Okay, so now I'm going to take the area of the triangle, the area of the square, and then the area of the trapezoid. Okay, so my first area is 1/2 base times height, so height is 9.6, base is 14.4, and that's going to give me 69.12 meters. The second area is simply going to be 14.4 squared, which is 207.36 meters squared. And then my trapezoid, it's going to be 1/2. My height is 11, and the sum of the bases is 10 plus 14.4 equals, that's going to give me 134.2 meters squared. And of course, I'm going to add those up, and my total area is going to be 410.68 meters squared. Okay, these are a good type of problems to really challenge your students and see how much they actually know, and can they use the formulas appropriately. All right, so I have 2 half circles. So I'm going to take the area of those first and the area of these second. Okay, so since the opposite sides of a rectangle are congruent, that means this entire top side is 28, and 28 divided by 4 is 7. So each of these radiuses is 7. Okay, and so if that's 7, that means this piece right here is going to be 7 as well, which means this piece is 17. All right, so area 1, that's going to be, because it's 2 halves, I'm just going to do the regular pi times 7 squared. So it's going to give me, the decimal is going to be 153.9 meters squared. And then my second area is going to be 17 times 28, which is 476 meters squared. So add these up, and you get 629.94, or 629.9 meters squared. All right, you want to be clear, whether it's Pearson for you or for your students, you want to be clear with your instructions. How many decimals do you want when you round? So do you want 153.9, or do you want 153.94, whatever? And that's going to dictate your last answer. All right, so on number 14, our last one for this section, you want to carve out that half circle. And then you end up with a trapezoid, a half circle, and a square. So you got first area, second area, third area. Okay, so my first area is, all right, so this is going to be 12.5, 12.5. All right, and that means this piece is 55 minus 12.5, which is going to be 42.5. Okay, all right, so trapezoid, that's going to be 1/2. My height is 12.5. And my sum of the bases is going to be 12.5 plus 42.5. And that's going to give me an area of 343.75 millimeters squared. My second area is going to be half that circle, pi 12.5 squared. It's going to give me a decimal of 245.44 millimeters squared. And my third area is simply going to be 12.5 squared. And so that's going to give me, let's see, 156.25 millimeters squared. Add them up. And that's going to give you a total of 754.44 millimeters squared. All right, so that is lesson 12. You have your basic figures and you have your composite figures. All right, so work this as many times as you need to. Reach out if you need help, and I'll see you in the next lesson.